All right, y'all. Welcome back to Franchise Players episode 9. I am joined by my co-host Darrell, as always.
Welcome. We have a very special episode for y'all tonight, so stay tuned, baby.
Yes, sir. Let's jump straight into it, my guy. Let's jump straight into it. So, NBA Finals is underway. OKC and Pacers, big upset, as the sports books would say. I want your opinion on this OKC versus Pacers game 1. Darrell, tell me about this.
Wow. What a game that was. Dude, I remember throughout the game, I was messaging you. I was like, yo, Moose. I was like, yo, the Thunder about to sweep the Pacers.
For sure.
Just based on the way the game was going throughout the entire night. I'm just like, there's no, like, the Pacers weren't able to get anything going. You know, and then the OKC defense was so stout and so impenetrable. I was just thinking there ain't no way the Pacers are going to be able to, first of all, come back from the deficit that they were at, or even win the series, or even win a game in the series. Yeah. But then Nembhard just turned it on, brother. Yo, Nembhard, that move that he had on the reigning MVP, you know, SGA, it was like a double tween. You know, with a shift and then the step back dribble in his face, dude. That was that in that moment in time. That's when I knew, like, yo, that this game is done. Yeah, that was like a complete momentum shift, because I believe that cut the lead down from 6-3 when he hit that. I believe it was 108 to 105 when he hit that shot. Man, it's been such an amazing game. Even with Tyrese, he had a terrible game up until that point. You know, even Richard Jefferson stated in the game, in the broadcast, that he was putting up tour dates. And my guy was like, my guy's putting up tour dates. But hey, I got to give it to the most overrated player in the game. He was able to come through and hit that game-winning shot at the end of the game, which was, come on, man. I was flabbergasted, you know. And also to that point as well, the Pacers offense turned up in the fourth quarter. You know, so in the fourth quarter here, so I'm seeing the advanced metrics here. They shot, I believe it was like 60% from the field in the fourth quarter, brother. Mm-hmm. All right, so they turned up that offense in the fourth quarter. They were able to figure it out in the fourth quarter. Even Obi Toppin,
right?
Man, he couldn't miss in the second half of the game, man. I would say him and Nembhard kept them in that game, because Siakam, Tyrese, they were struggling to get buckets in game 1. But like the supporting cast came through and really delivered. Without the supporting cast, that game would have been done for. So I would say the MVPs, even though Halliburton did hit the game-winning shot, the co-MVPs of game 1 for the Pacers, Obi Toppin and Nembhard. And also Nembhard's defense. Dude, come on, man. Like, his defense is so underrated. You know, especially the fact that he was able just to stay on top of SGA. Even though SGA finished the game with 30, he made it hard for SGA. Now, I believe SGA still shot, was like 14 for 30.
Right.
14 for 30 from the field. He made it extremely difficult for SGA. However, I think it's more so now they just got to ride this momentum. The Pacers just got to ride this momentum going forward to the next game. But I really love some of the adjustments that they did in the second half, the Pacers, you know, because like in the first half, like they're going to get a bucket. And then they just turned up defensively, offensively. Their defense is so underrated. Siakam, his switchability, Nembhard's ability to dodge screens. You know, that is such an underrated aspect of defense, just being able to just navigate yourself between the screeners. And also Miles Turner, just being there as well as that additional support once you get beat. You know, so just first of all, when it comes to defense, you don't really have to block a shot as long as you're able to alter that shot. That itself is the true definition of a rim protector.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So game 2 is going to be very interesting. So we shall see. We shall see, man. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, man. In typical Indiana Pacer fashion, they just continue to pull off these crazy upsets last second. You know, nobody's safe. Last 3 minutes of the game, you're not safe. You have a 10-point lead, 12-point lead. You're not safe. It's just a testament to just how clutch this Pacers team, not only just Tyrese Halliburton, but the whole team has been in late game scenarios, late game situations. They never give up. They're a resilient bunch, and that's amazing, and that's really what you need to excel in the playoffs, right? 100%. You can't let the moment get to you. You can't let a double-digit deficit get to you, in late stages of the game. You always have to believe that you're in it, and the Pacers have an outstanding resilience, to being down and to being, think about it, game one of the finals. Most of them, if not all of them outside of Siakam, if I'm not mistaken, have never been there before. And just the poise that they're able to keep on the road. You have a ton of OKC fans, getting upset at them from, the sidelines and man, just talking all kinds of craziness. I can't even imagine what they're saying. And the Pacers are still able to stay poised. They're able to stay in the moment, and they're able to come through with a huge comeback game winner. I remember the last couple minutes I had to see it, so I popped over to your house real quick. I remember I was like, Darrell, bro, we got to watch this last little bit. You're like, man, OKC's gonna get it done. They're up 8 with like 2 minutes left. I'm like, okay, let's see. I pull up, man, and that shot by Halliburton just to end the game was just beautiful. Gorgeous. Poetry in motion.
Come on,
that guy is nothing can stop him right now. He's on cloud 9. I saw a clip with him, and I think it was, I forget who it was. I forget who it was. I'm not going to name who it was because I don't want to get it wrong. But I saw a clip of him speaking to an NBA analyst, and the analyst said, "Hey, man, I had OKC all over winning game 1, and for whatever, and you guys pulled it out." So, and Tyrese Halliburton was expressed his, he said, "Yo, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You thought that." The other guys were going to win. OKC was going to win, but we ended up turning up and winning. So, no, that was just a great moment. But you know what? Going forward for OKC, they got to take advantage of their leads. They gotta baby their leads, right? They can't be careless with the basketball. They need to execute in spots. They have to turn up the defense, especially because we know with this OKC team and how deep they are, the great perimeter defenders, the great interior defenders, the all-around great defensive presence that the team has. We know that they have the capability to stay locked in for a full 48, and that's of course how they had such an amazing regular season record and how they made it so far. We need them to do so right now in the finals.
Bingo.
It's wow. Everyone is shocked. I'm still in shock off of that game 1. Just excited for game 2. Game 2 is tonight. We're recording right now, Sunday. And we're about to see what happens in game 2, man.
It's funny though, because this is the exact same way that the Thunder started off this series with Denver. The exact same fashion. They blew a major lead, and Aaron Gordon comes down and hit a game-winning shot on them. However, they were still able to win that series in 7. So I do believe there's a little bit of complacency on the OKC Thunder's part. They believe that their defense is so stout, and they have, arguably one of the greatest scorers of our time in SGA.
Yep.
I believe they do get complacent. However, they cannot be complacent with this Pacers team, especially how fast they're able to just turn it on. Once again, I'll say this a million times over and over again. This current Pacers team reminds me of that 2011 Dallas Mavericks team.
Right.
Just in terms of the personnel that they have, how deep the roster is, and how each and every single one of the players know their role. So OKC cannot be complacent, and they not just one guy can beat you like the Denver Nuggets. They have multiple guys, as we saw in game 1. Not just Hallie, not just Pascal. They have Nemhard. They also have a Obi Toppin on the other side, a Miles Turner. They have multiple guys that can beat you in various ways. So even with OKC, Caruso was having an amazing game. Was having such an amazing game, just in terms of his impact. There was he was doing all the little things, getting buckets when he needed to. Crucial defensive stops. Caruso was that guy, So as you mentioned, Caruso also has championship experience with the 2020 Lakers in the bubble. So he's one of the players on that side of OKC that currently has somewhat of experience. So you can see that championship pedigree. So now I just believe there just need to be that added sense of urgency on OKC for them just to take it to the next level.
That's
So that. They just need to stop being complacent. And also, I was very disappointed in J-Dub, his performance. He kind of, he was very, very unnoticeable on the court. where was he? Like, how many points did he drop that game? I believe he dropped, it was like 14 points. Let's see here. J-Dub. Yeah, finished the game with, was it 17 points? You know, so he definitely needs to turn it up. He's averages in the playoffs right now. What is it, like 21 to 22 points a game? So he definitely needs to up that. So he's scoring a little bit more. Chet Holmgren also had a terrible game one. Maybe it's just, first finals game jitters. Hopefully they're able to get that out of their system and just turn up game 2. You know, Rick Carlisle, he's been there. He's been here before, man. So you can tell. You can just tell by his just poise, how poised he is throughout the game, keeping his players on the check. Even Tyrese being so calm to be able to hit that game-winning jumper.
For sure, man. Been there, done that.
I think it's just being the fact that he has enough championship experience around him. You know, once again, Siakam has also been in that position. Even with Bryant, apparently he was on that Denver championship squad in 2022. Right. 2023, he was also on that freaking championship squad, which is crazy. So, you know, they have multiple players.
He was too.
Yeah, so they have multiple players who have been in that position. However, OKC is the better team. I'll always take the better team in the finals to walk out victorious. So I'm still taking OKC in 6.
Yeah, I'm not going to change my opinion. I had OKC in 6 as well, as per our last pod. But, you know, I feel like there definitely is a world where I feel like the Indiana Pacers will just continue to shock us all. Yeah. Because that's just been the theme of the playoffs. Just India's come out and they've just shocked everybody round to round to round. They just continue to get the job done. So super excited about that, and I definitely, you know, am excited for the rest of the playoffs.
I saw that they leaked the script.
Yeah.
So is it like OKC winning the series 4-1 in 5 games? So the one game that the Pacers are going to take is game 1. So apparently in the next 4 games it belongs to OKC. I saw the script. I don't know what you're going to do. I saw the script, man. How y'all going to lick the script like that? Come on.
And we thought OKC was going to take game 1, man. I don't know if I believe any of this stuff. Let's jump into the next topic here. We got Coach Tibbs being fired. Kind of caught the NBA world off guard. We weren't expecting that, especially after the New York Knicks make their first conference finals in, I believe, 25 years since 99, if I'm not mistaken. So I want you to talk to me a little bit about that. The Knicks firing Tibbs and just some of the potential candidates that you think could be a good coach for the Knicks.
I think it's a very, very, especially it's very tough. The very tough situation to be in, both the team as well as Coach Tibbs, because you brought the team to a position that they haven't been in, was it like 20, 25 years? Yeah. You know, being able to take that New York franchise that have been struggling for the last 10, 15 years. So even make it past the first round, past the second round, even Carmelo, Melo was never able to make it to the conference finals. Never. You know, so the fact that Tibbs was able to take that New York squad, and like New York for the longest time, they were one of the laughing stocks in the East. You know, so when Tibbs came over to New York, they even tried with Randall. They made Randall a 2-time All-Star in that squad. He brought an identity to New York. You know, so the one gripe that I will say about Tibbs is just overrides his players. That's it. You know what I'm saying? He just rides them to their detriment. You know, so prime example, Derrick Rose. First example, Derrick Rose. You know, I believe they were up, I think about 10 points in the last 2 minutes of the game against Philly. I believe this was 2011, 2012, and he still kept Derrick Rose in the game. And that's when Derrick Rose stories. That was the first ever major injury Derrick Rose suffered. You know, so it's the same thing with New York. So he's just having these players play damn near 46 to 48 minutes a game. That gonna happen. He definitely needs to trust his bench a little bit more. So I do believe that's where the New York's front office wants to transition over to. They want a coach who's gonna come in and be able to trust the bench a little bit more. Cool, you have your starters, you have Brunson, amazing talent. You have OG, you have Towns, you have Bridges, and so on and so forth. However, those players cannot be playing damn near 40 minutes a game. So I believe Thibodeau did what he needed to do. I think now it's just more of a shift of identity, you know, just in terms of the pace of play and also the identity that they are trying to reestablish. You know, so I think right now Dude, I think Mike Malone, man, would be an amazing fit.
Mike Malone would be really good.
Mike Malone would be an amazing fit in that offense. If you truly put it in perspective, in terms of the dynamic that New York team has, I'm not saying Cat is as good as, a Jokic. However, you can put Cat in that Jokic role, and you can have like a Bronson in that Jamal Murray role. However, you obviously you can have Bronson as the primary ball handler, and then you can have Cat as the secondary ball handler. So you can have like that direct handoff, give and go play with the two. Because one thing that we mentioned in the last pod was how ISO heavy that New York offense was. Because they had it all. That New York starting five, there's no reason why they shouldn't be in the finals. So if they had a more cohesive team, a more cohesive ball movement, because Thibodeau's way too defensive focused. If they have a coach who's a little bit more innovative offensively, I believe that New York's team would have been.
It's a good point.
They would have put that Pacers team within the 5 games.
Mm-hmm. But now, is Mike Malone the innovative offensive coordinator, if you will, or coach that you think would be the best? There's a couple guys that I like as well.
Okay.
There's a guy like Jay Wright. But I know he's not going to want to leave Villanova. And I think he actually came out and said that he wouldn't want to go. But he's always a good candidate. I mean, I know a lot of NBA franchises have long desired his skills as a head coach. Obviously, we saw earlier in the week, there was a couple tweets, one by Mark Stein that came out that said the Knicks were eyeing Jason Kidd, Ime Udoka. But obviously, those guys are currently with teams, right? So it's a little difficult for that. Another guy that might be good. Man, I know they were also looking at that assistant, the Cavs assistant, Jordan Ott, at some point. But now he's going to take over in Phoenix now that Budenholzer is out. There's a plethora of guys that could be good for that role. I just think it would have to be somebody, again, that, as you're saying, would be more willing to incorporate guys outside of the starting five, because we know how much, of course, that Tom Thibodeau likes to ride his players. I mean, that's just been a recurring theme for so long, going as early back to as early as the D Rose days, as you mentioned. So you're absolutely right about that. There's a ton of guys. There's a ton of guys out there that could be good. There's a ton of guys, but I was definitely surprised when this news dropped. Like, I was
shocked.
This was out of left field.
Yeah, because apparently they were still on the plane.
Which is crazy.
When that news was dropped, I also saw a video of Jalen Brunson stating that he loved Thibodeau. He liked his coaching style.
I did see that too, but I also saw there was a report that came out that said that the front office, as well as some of the players, were ready for a change, and they didn't love. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm sure it was like some players did, but other players maybe didn't.
Because on the inverse, Bridges stated that he did not like that aspect as well, just being able to play like damn near 48 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Because Bridges, he's one of the Iron Man of the league right now. I believe he missed his first game this season.
I think so.
Because he had to play like the first minute of the game and then checked himself out just because he wanted to keep his Iron Man record going. It just goes to show, just in terms of Thibodeau, how his principles are actually affecting his players. Even with OG, we also had this discussion the other day as well. OG has all defensive capabilities and abilities. But now it's more so, are you able to give him the necessary breaks that he needs? Because, dude, when you're banging with some of these centers, and also trying to keep in front of some of these guards, it takes a toll on your body.
For sure.
And then if you're playing 82 games, 38 to 45 minutes per game out of 82 game season, that's going to take a toll on your body. And then you factor in the playoffs, dude.
100%.
You need those breaks. And I think too with Thibodeau, he just needs to build a team that is a little bit more conducive to his principles and players that he trusts a whole lot more instead of just riding his starters.
It's true.
To that New York team, Mike Malone is out there as well. One of my favorite coaches, Jason Kidd. I'm not sure if the Mavs.
That's what I'm saying. It's tough. It's tough for Udoka and Kidd because I know that they are interested. I did remember actually the coach who I was going to mention. I was going to mention Jeff Van Gundy because he just came back as a Clippers assistant this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the players in front office, they rave about him. They rave about how good he is and just how deserving of a head coach role that he deserves right now.
Yeah.
So that would definitely be a sleeper pick for me. You know, we mentioned the Mike Malones, the Mike Budenholzer, but again, I can't echo your sentiments more. It needs to be somebody who's just more willing to open up the bench. I do give, and you know, we talked about this on a previous pod. I do kind of give Thibs a little bit of leeway because they didn't really have a bench like that. You know what I mean? They didn't really have too many guys outside of that top five.
Yeah, but they sacrificed the bench for that starting lineup.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's difficult. You know, they had a couple guys. Like the only guys off of the bench, let's just go over them real quick. The only real serviceable guys off the bench will be Shamit, Precious.
Even Precious, that's questionable.
You know what I mean? Precious is questionable.
Yeah.
McBride.
So
that's what, 7.5 right now. And then who else? Mitchell Robinson. You know, if you want to count Precious as half a guy because you can't really play him.
You also have PJ Tucker on that bench, man.
You know what I mean? But that man is, I don't know about him at this point in his career. I haven't even seen him on the court in so long.
Yeah.
So I don't know how serviceable he could be. I mean, he's probably a good ear to the young guys in terms of you know, a locker room presence and championship experience, obviously because he won with the Bucks back in 21. But
the only thing is, like, they didn't have to start all those players all at once, like OG, Bridges, Towns, Bronson, and Mitchell Robinson. You know, so like even with like a Bridges, I would have brought Bridges off the bench. Obviously, he has a massive freaking contract. However, they could have tweaked that offense a little bit better to be a little bit more successful offensively. You know, so I believe like there's way too much firepower in the starting lineup that the bench is so dry. You know, so because when Bridges and OG, you can interchange one of those guys. You know what I'm saying? But however, it's a contracts that they have. If you have a massive contract, you started. You ain't coming off the bench.
That's the thing.
So that's the major issue.
And they did try to tweak, right? They put in Mitchell Robinson instead of putting like a small ball like for Hart, right? So they did try to tweak it, but I just think at the end of the day, they just didn't have enough. And really that got exposed in the Pacers series, I found. It just wasn't, you know what I mean? Like they look, like I said, even on the last pod, it looked like on paper, it looks like, okay, Precious Achiuwa and McBride and Shamit and Mitchell Robinson. You're like, okay. But really, when you saw it play out in the playoffs, you're like, oh, no wonder they kind of weren't playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're not really offering too much, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Like a guy like Landry Shamit, you know, he could shoot the lights out from three. He's a little bit of a streaky shooter, though, but he can't really defend. At least Miles McBride is a pesky defender. He kind of get those deflections. Yeah. He's a much better ball handler, kind of that staple backup PG that I find they needed on that squad to kind of take the ball out of Brunson's hands a little bit, give him a break either off ball or when he's out of the game. But yeah, I just didn't feel like they had enough. They had enough.
No, they definitely didn't.
Yeah. But anyways, in terms of, you know, what they should do going forward, I think any one of those guys that we mentioned, you know, you got Mike Malone. So Mike Malone would that be your favorite?
Mike Malone, as of right now, just based on his success, man, I do believe, especially when you put it in perspective, that Denver Nuggets team, he is the one that saw the vision because it was either Jokic or Nurkic.
Yeah.
So he was like, all right, Jokic is my guy, and he was able to develop. Obviously, he played in the instrumental part of Jokic being the player that he is.
Right,
Don't get it twisted. Jokic is arguably one of the greatest talents of all time. However, you definitely need someone to present you with that opportunity, right? So Mike Malone was able to see that in Jokic, and it was like, you know what, this is our guy. We're gonna ride him, and plus we're gonna take him and just stay with him. You know what I'm saying? And they got rid of Nurkic, because even to that point as well, I thought Nurkic was the guy. Yeah. But then he's like Jokic, and then over time you're like, all right, cool.
Yeah. That's true. Hey, that's true.
I'm just like, you know, he has a vision.
Yeah.
Even with Jamal Murray, right? So he was able to enhance Jamal Murray's just abilities. You know, I believe it was like in the bubble when Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell had that feud, man. These guys were dropping 50 balls, like a 50 piece, like every other game. You know, so I do believe Mike Malone believes in his players. However, I think there was like just the end there with the Nuggets. Maybe it kind of ended the wrong way.
For sure. You know what? Now that we're talking about the Nuggets and the Knicks, I'm thinking like Mike Malone and the Nuggets and Thibs and the Knicks, they were kind of, the way they went out was kind of similar in a way. There was issues maybe between the players and those head coaches. And then on top of that, both teams would make it relatively far in the playoffs and have made it relatively far in the playoffs, but they couldn't get over the hump due to a lack of depth. And that's something that the Nuggets struggled with too, because they had a fantastic starting five with Michael Porter, Jamal Murray, Jokic and company. And then same with the Knicks with Brunson and Cat and all those guys and Hart and Bridges and OG. So it's like, yeah, there's actually a lot of similarities there now that I think about it. And I don't know if a lot of the time it's, well, I mean, it is the coach's fault, of course, in some capacity because, you know, they didn't get along with the players and maybe the front office and things, you know, maybe there was a change that was needed. But at the end of the day, I feel like it was, man, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, hey, who am I to say if you don't have, you know, the coach that you want, especially for like your franchise, your star, you know what I mean? If your star doesn't get along with the coach, then what can you really do? You know what I mean? You have to make a change, especially if front office doesn't like it, you have to make a change. So I'm not going to knock it.
Even with, is it Budenholzer, whatever his name is?
Yeah, Mike Budenholzer.
Mike Budenholzer. I'm not the biggest fan of his. However, he did turn that Atlanta Hawks team to a 6-win team. You know what I'm saying? So he's still there's still potential there. And and also at that point in time when he was coaching the Atlanta Hawks team, at that time that was one of the best offenses in NBA history. You know, so the Knicks have an all-time player in Bronson. They have one of the greatest big man shooters in Cat, and they have an amazing supporting cast. Like if you're able to get an offensive-minded coach in there, you already have a somewhat defensive mindset players in OG and Bridges. Bronson can get it defensively. Towns is the only question mark there defensively. However, get that offense going, man. Get that offense going because, dude, that ISO ball the Knicks play, it was their detriment.
Yeah, right? For sure. Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on to you want to move into the Giannis stuff or do you want to move into the KD stuff? There's one like smaller piece of news. Maybe we'll tackle that first before we jump into it. So the 76ers plan to work out Dennis Smith. So the Philly Inquirer came out and said former lottery pick among several participants in team's two-way vet minicamp. So how do you feel? Do you feel like that's a good look for the Sixers?
What's the point? What's the point? That is so necessary because we already know what you will be getting from Dennis Smith.
So you're not a fan? I'm
not a fan of it. So Dennis Smith, obviously he was in Brooklyn. I think it was this season or last season. Had an amazing stint in Brooklyn. However, Brooklyn was, you know, a bottom feeder. If you're getting playing time, you're going to be one of the few players that are going to be putting up shots. So we've seen Dennis Smith when he was on a contender or even a really, you know, stable situation. He is not that guy. Especially with the direct, maybe that's the direction the Sixers are trying to go, trying to bring in, you know, a guy who we know is obviously not gonna move the needle because we're either gonna have Embiid on the market or Paul George on the market, and then we will start fresh with, you know, with a third pick, either, you know, an Ace Bailey or VJ Edgecombe, whoever it is, and let's just start fresh. Bringing in Dennis Smith, it doesn't move the needle for me for Philly, you know, because right now you already have the rookie from last year,
Jared McCain.
You already have Jared McCain. They have Kyle Lowry. I believe Kyle Lowry is retiring soon. You know, so it's he doesn't really move the needle for me. I think for them, they just need to start from scratch, because if they believe that they're starting point guard going into next season, come on. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't make any sense. If you were to get a point guard, let's do it right, man. Get me like a Tyus Jones. Get me like someone who can actually orchestrate the offense. Like Dennis Smith doesn't do anything offensively doesn't do one thing offensively that stands out. He's not the best playmaker. He's not the most reliable 3-point shooter. He's not the most reliable defender. You know. So what does he do?
He's a good defender, bro.
Reliable, like just in terms of like, hey, go and guard the best.
I think he's a very underrated defender. So my thoughts towards the situation is, I don't think he's there to move the needle. I think he's there to just provide a good defensive presence, stability, and we saw with this Philly team, they were among the worst in defense league-wide. You know, so by bringing in a guy like that to kind of anchor a little bit of guard defense, I think could be a pretty good move for them. You know what I mean? You can get him cheap. It's a vet minicamp. I mean, you could probably get him on the vet minimum. This is a guy trying to get back into the league. You know, he's a positive guy. He's got a good reputation around the league. I know that as well. So I feel like it could be a decent move. You know, obviously, like you said, it's not going to change anything much. But you know, these little moves like this, I like specifically this Dennis Smith one. I think it would be good because the offense for the 76ers wasn't necessarily bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they had scores. Like they had a few bona fide buckets on the team. Like if Embiid could play, obviously you know what he can do. PG the same thing. So say they get their health situation kind of figured out, and then you have a guy like Jared McCain who was averaging I think 20 before he went out, and then you have a guy like he's escaping me, Kelly Oubre, right? Who's a walking 20 piece as well.
Yep.
You know, Semi Ojeleye, is that him?
Yeah, Ojeleye.
Yeah, Ojeleye is kind of nice. Yes. You know what I mean? He could get buckets. He's a hustle player. He's always hustling for those offensive rebounds. He has decent touch around the rim. He's got an okay 3-point shot. Like they had some pieces there, and you know, obviously that's why a lot of us going into last year we thought the Sixers were going to come out like towards the top of the East. You know, obviously injuries and a bunch of things came into play with that. But just to finish my thoughts, I think Dennis Smith was like when I saw that I was like, okay, like I see it. Like, you know, if you need a guy to come in and do good perimeter defense, you know, I think he could effectively guard 1 through 3. Like I think he's a good enough defender for sure. So yeah, I kind of like that one.
Okay, question for you: would you rather have a Dennis Smith or a Dennis Schroeder?
Dennis Smith or Dennis Schroeder? Obviously, Dennis Schroeder's a better player. Depends what you need and what the budget is. You know what I mean? Dennis Schroeder would be a much better option. He's much better offensively.
100%.
Much better offensively. But if you need a guy, again, just a slot in vet minimum role, Dennis Smith, I think is a good option. You know what I mean? If you want a bona fide sixth man, then Dennis Schroeder is the guy. So I would definitely take Dennis Schroeder. Yeah,
because to that point, I just believe there are so many other options out there if you're looking for a solid backup. You know, Dennis is, for me, like I even mentioned Tyus Jones, even his brother Trey Jones.
You think Tyus Jones will go back to a backup role now that he is starting in Phoenix? Or do you think, how do you feel about that?
I think he will, because just in terms of Kyle Lowry, that's a question mark, right? Because if Dennis Smith, is he coming in as a backup? Is he coming in as a starter? But based on Kyle Lowry's situation.
Backup.
Yeah. Because even with Tyus Jones, I would take him as a starter. You know, someone to, and then have McCain as my 2, and then you have Paul George.
But Maxey though.
Fuck, I forgot about Maxey.
So I think it would be, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, right? You got to think about fit. So Tyus would be a good option. It's tough to make it work.
However, Tyus is a backup point guard just in terms of
where he's most effective. I agree.
Yeah,
I'm just saying now that with the Suns he was a starter. Do you think he goes back to a backup PG role? Do you think he's that type of player where he's going to be like, yo, like I'm a starter now, like I want to be a starter on a team, or do you think he's going to be like, no, I'm okay with playing the background, coming off of the bench? Because I think killer with
Memphis. I agree. I think it also depends on the projection of the team. You know, if he's a player that's trying to win, and he sees the makeup of the team, if we have a healthy Embiid, we also have a healthy Paul George, you know, and some of the moves that we're making, if it actually makes sense, I believe because he's already been in that position, you know. So like for him, it's like, all right, cool. Like however I can contribute to the success of the team. He already got his bag.
Yeah.
He already got his bag, and I think to that point as well, it's either the Sixers will have to make a move for him, but obviously Smith is the cheaper alternative.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So it's like, all right, cool. We can get this guy for the vet minimum, as opposed to a guy who just signed a multi-year deal a couple of seasons ago. So it's like, do we want to go in, tie up a cap space for another mediocre season? Because we already know Embiid doesn't play back-to-backs. We also know that Paul George. he's an ankle roll away from being out 50 games. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just based on this where the Philly projection is, where the management where the management projects this team in the future. And are they riding with Embiid, Paul George? Are they riding with that nucleus? You know, so it's there's so many question marks just in regards with that move itself, man. That doesn't really make sense to me. Are they tanking or are they trying to win now?
I think, like, as currently constructed, you would assume that they're trying to win now. But again, there's so many question marks because the season was just a disaster.
Utter disaster.
There's no other way to put it. They were just terrible. Like, on defense, like when you would watch that team, they were just abysmal. They couldn't stay healthy. They couldn't put it all together. Like, you think you have PG back, you think you have Embiid back. Oh, no, actually you don't. You don't have any of them back. One guy will go out, then the other will follow. It was a disaster. But let's digress from the 76ers talk. There's a lot of more important things to talk about, man. Giannis, potential landing spots, bro. I think we should jump into that right now.
Let's go.
Crazy. We all know Dame Dollar is probably going to be out until at least January 2026, about midway through the season. A lot of people are projecting him to go elsewhere. You know, there's been a lot of talk between him and the Milwaukee Bucks about, you know, where he's trying to go. Some of the teams mentioned here, you know, obviously you have a return to Milwaukee, which seems sort of unlikely at this point. The Spurs, the Raptors, the Nets. Any other teams you feel would be good, or do you feel some of these teams listed would be ideal for Giannis? And does Giannis going to any of these teams make them a contender?
I think any team Giannis is on is a contender. That's how great Giannis is, right? So it's
a championship contender or a playoff.
I'll just based on how open the NBA is currently, and based on the caliber of player that Giannis is. Yeah, I would say a championship contender, 100%. Even with the Pacers, even with the Milwaukee Bucks last season, I think if that team was properly constructed for Giannis, we also had another conversation that we had last week was the trade for Middleton. I think they should have kept Middleton, man. He would have been so much more effective than the likes of a Kuz.
For sure.
You know, so, but I think the any team that Giannis is on is a contender. And I think there's so many different landing spots that would make sense for Giannis. Like, prime example, the Spurs. I think the Spurs have enough assets to make that work for Giannis, you know, especially if they can give up the second pick. And I believe it was like a second, the 2025 second round pick, as well as Vassell and dude with the blonde hair. Sohan, you know, for Giannis. Like, I'd do it.
But you think that's all it'll take?
I think it definitely take more.
Yeah.
I think it would take at least a couple additional picks. However, like the starting, like any conversation with Giannis right now would be like that second pick, Vassell, Sohan, at least the rookie of the year last season, Castle. Castle also have to be in that as well.
That's tough.
You know, so that's the thing, right? The asking price for Giannis is a little bit steep right now, even for the Raptors. The asking price right now for Giannis is Scotty Barnes, Grady Dick, Ochai Agbaji, I think 3 or 4 first-round picks.
If you're the Raptors, do you try to get Giannis if you have to give up Scotty?
No, I wouldn't do that.
I'm out on that too.
I wouldn't do that.
I'm out on that too. So, not because I don't think Giannis is better than Scotty, but just who else do you have around Giannis on the Raptors to win?
Exactly. Like I do get it. However, I would not give up a Scotty who's only 21, was a 22, 23 for Giannis, who's already in his 30s, 31, and he most likely have another 2-3 years of his prime. So do we want to gut our future for the next 3 years? You know, and also like call me an optimist, but this current Raptors squad that we currently have, I would love to see a Scotty and an Ingram with an RJ quick out. I want to see that offense before we got anything.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Part of the problem with the Raptors right now is that we haven't been able to see that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Not everyone has been healthy at the same time, and we just got BI who's been hurt. So yeah, I agree.
I would love to see that offense just before we got it. Like for me, I like to see what I currently have before thinking about the what ifs. I hate the what ifs. Like at least let me see what I have prior to me making that move. But then again, time is of the essence. Like if you do not make this as a golden opportunity to land one of the greatest power forwards of all time, but do you want to give up all these assets? Do you want to just tie up your future for this one generational player? Like it panned out when Raptors did it for the likes of Kawhi. However, we didn't have to give up too much for Kawhi. We didn't have to gut our entire future, right? And also just even the likes of Brooklyn, like it doesn't make any sense for Giannis to go to Brooklyn. Who is he going to be playing with? There's zero bodies there in Brooklyn for Giannis.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, so I think the best there are only two possible options for Giannis. Well, I think three possible options for Giannis right now, just in terms of the trade value and the teams that he could actually take to a championship. I believe Raptors is one. However, Raptors will have to give up a whole lot. I'm a Raptors guy, so it will suck to see the departure of Scottie. However, it will be Giannis, Bia, Quickly, Barrett. And I believe we also have to give up Portal. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. It's too much.
Yeah, we're giving up way too much.
It's too much.
And then
you don't have a team left over. You got Giannis and Shed and Bobo and no. It's not enough, man.
It's too much.
It's not enough.
But I also think with a Giannis and a Wemby duo, oh boy,
that would be crazy.
That's getting me excited.
That would be
That's
crazy.
getting me excited. Yeah. Giannis and a Wemby duo. That'd be kind of nice. There's also talks of Giannis also joining the likes of Minnesota. Giannis and Ant.
Okay.
However, that paint will be so clogged.
Yeah,
with
for sure.
Gobert and Giannis, dude. Where is Giannis going to operate if Gobert's going to be right there?
I don't know if I see him going to the West though, really, unless it's the Spurs.
Mm-hmm. But the thing
maybe a Rockets.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's not his call.
I know.
Does he have no trade? Does he have no trade clause?
That I'm not sure about. Let's check that out real quick.
Because if he has a no trade clause and he wants out, dude, it's on the team's. It's on the team's best interest, like to do whatever the hell they want to do. Sorry,
for sure. They're gonna have to treat him with a degree of respect. But granted, all that he's done for the franchise, though,
it's business at the end of the day.
For sure, but I don't see it being like a Savage situation. You know what I mean? Where they just send him off to how kind of the Spurs did with Kawhi, where they're like, oh, you don't want to go to the Raptors, then we're sending you to the Raptors. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, it's man, you know what? With these three teams, I like the Raptors. Obviously, being a Raptor guy, I think the Raptors would be good.
Yeah.
Although my argument, whenever I'm, having this conversation with you, with other people, I'm always thinking, okay, what do we have to give up? And then once we give up those pieces, what do we have left in return? And who do we grab? Because this free agent market right now is a little slim. There are some decent guys. There's some guys with player options like a Naz Reid and things like that. But, what else are we going to put around us? Because like you said, Giannis is 30. He's got maybe 2, 3, 4 years because he's a 7-footer max.
And also his playing style too.
Of a prime two-way player that he is. So how are we going to maximize that? The different thing between the Kawhi thing and the Giannis thing now is we were a Kawhi away from winning. We had the whole team. We had the wing shooters. We had the bigs. We had stretch bigs. We had 1,000 depth pieces, guys who had won before. We had scorers. We had an elite point guard facilitator in Kyle Lowry. We had guys that had playoff experience, championship. The list goes on. We had all the pieces.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But now it's okay, if we give up, say hypothetically, we give up Dick, a couple. That sounded crazy. Give up Grady. We give up Grady, Dick, a couple of picks.
Yeah.
Who else would we throw in there? Maybe a Mobo and a RJ Barrett. Mm-hmm. It's
I would do that. But still,
I would do it. But the question is do we have enough right now, or are we just kind of would Masai go to MLSC and be like, yo, we're in it now? Give us a budget. You know what I mean? Let us go crazy. Let us go over the cap. We'll pay whatever tax we need to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about that. It's I like it, but we would need to maximize the situation. But I have faith in Masai to do that. You know, the more I think about it, the more I believe in that.
What makes
you're
sense?
gonna ask something?
Yeah. What makes sense to me, if I was the Raptors, I want to make sure that I give up as less as possible, but then maximize my return. Which means that right now, KD is on the market for way cheaper than Giannis. We wouldn't have to give up a Scotty for a KD.
But so, are we a KD away from winning a chip?
I believe we're a KD away from winning a chip.
Ooh. I can't confidently say that or think that. Granted that we haven't seen our guys healthy on the court at one time. I don't really know what the Raptors are.
Nobody does.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know if I could say we're a KD away.
Dude,
because mind you, he's 38, bro. And like he gets hurt. It's going to be a lengthy absence. You know, mind you, he has been healthy the last number of years, but
at least we have a certified bucket. No, just
he's a walking like 25.
Potentially, picture this side of the starting lineup. You have a Quickly. You have an RJ. Quickly, RJ. BI, Scotty, and then KD.
And then Pirtle off of the bench. So we have no real rim protector. You know what I mean? It's a tough fit. Like, I like the Giannis one much more.
But then who's going to come off so then that means, like, obviously Scotty needs to go.
No, RJ would need to go. Honestly, if it was up to me, RJ would go.
Yeah, RJ, 100%. 100%. Yeah. I would put RJ on the block.
Yeah.
As opposed to Scotty.
Yeah.
Even throwing Quickly, man.
Who's a PG then? Who do we get?
Dude, I'm a ride with Shad, dude.
I don't think a second-year PG is ready to take the reins of like a championship. Now you get Giannis, a championship squad. I don't know about that one.
I'll let Scotty on point.
I don't know about that one. And another thing too, like if you give up Grady Dick, man, he showed some real strides last season.
Dude, like I believe it was the start of the season when this guy was averaging 24 points.
He was lights out to begin the year.
Lights out.
Like he kind of dwindled off a little bit, but it's a second year. Like I believe being a 6'7"
shooter,
sniper. Lights out shooter,
and he has such an
Kyle
amazing
Korver-esque, like you know what I mean. And he's got like a surprisingly good touch around the basket
amazing
too.
Touch.
You know, if he can kind of master that drive and kick, that drive and body control, finishing ability type of play, man, he could be a weapon. And you don't want to give up a guy that young. Anyways, it's for Giannis. I mean, you would do it. But it would just to watch him on like the Bucks like lighting up would hurt me.
The craziest part about what the Raptors are potentially packaging away for Giannis, like we're packaging away potentially 2 perennial All-Stars. If you really put it in perspective, like a Grady Dick, a Scotty Barnes,
So you think Grady's gonna be an All-Star?
I see All-Star potential in Grady, bruv. I see obviously Scotty has already landed his mark as an All-Star. You know he's only going to get better. You know what I'm saying? So it's like. I get it, it's Giannis, but we're giving up way too much. Maybe that's just me being way too attached to my
I
to my
feel
team.
you.
You know what I'm saying?
As a homer, you get like that, bro. I don't want to see these guys go either, but like when DeMar was traded, I don't want to see DeMar go. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like you got to do what's better for the team.
With that trade, I was fine with it just because we didn't have to give up too much.
Yeah, like you swap star for star, and then you give up Pirtle. Yeah. And at that point, we didn't really know what Pirtle was.
Exactly.
Because that was only like his second or third year in the league. So, yeah. No, I agree. Spurs would be crazy, though. With Wemby, Giannis. Even if Giannis and KD met up there, would be insane. And then you have De'Aaron Fox.
And you have
Stephon Castle.
Enough assets as well to make that happen.
Man, Jeremy Sohan, if CP3 comes back, too, that's another great veteran off of the bench. They have the assets. They have the guys there to make it happen. We didn't even mention Vassell or Keldon Johnson.
And also, we had this conversation, like 2 podcasts, I believe it was episode 6 or episode 7, just in terms of Wemby, right? So the Spurs trying to win now, right? So even though Wemby is still young, they want to expedite that championship window for Wemby just based on his health.
For sure.
Right? So obviously, Wemby currently already has what was like the blood clot issues that he suffered last season, and also there was like I saw multiple reports that Wemby is now approximately like 7'8".
He's 7'8".
Yeah, 7'8". I saw speculation. So now he's approximately like 7'6", 7'7", around that as well. So when you really think about it, the longevity of players that is 7'5" and taller, like how long is their NBA career, right? So with the Spurs right now, they're really thinking about, all right, cool, let's maximize Wemby's window and try to win championships now,
Fair
right?
enough,
So it's like, all right, cool, let's get Giannis in, let's get KD in. We already have Chris Paul in here. Now let's try to win now within this window. Obviously, Wemby is only like 21, 22. However, his trajectory in terms of all the best, knock on wood, health-wise, is not the same as the likes of an Ant-Man. You know, like Wemby, we need to like win now. We can't wait another 5 years because we have no idea what the hell the next 5 years has in store. You know, like Bol's dad, same thing. He was like 7'7". His career ended you know, very, very short. As well as Embiid, you know, he has very lower extremities issue. KD, when he was in his early seasons in OKC, he had a ton of lower extremity issues. So with Wemby, it's like, all right, cool, we have him now, arguably one of the greatest players within the last 3 decades. Let's maximize his window right now. So that Giannis move, they have enough assets to get Giannis. They have enough assets to get KD. Let's make it happen. So I think the Spurs are more in a win now territory. Even the Raptors, they're also in a win now. However, they have more assets to get. They have, you know, in terms of the package that they can put together, it will be a little bit more enticing than a Raptors package.
Yeah,
even
I
more
agree with
enticing than the Rockets package. Like if I was Milwaukee and if I'm getting a package from the Rockets, I need Amen. Oh, you better throw Amen in that motherfucker.
You have to,
dude.
Have to.
From what I saw from that kid. Oh my
He's
goodness,
fantastic.
brother!
What a great young
this
player.
guy would just drop step and freaking go into a windmill, bro.
Yeah,
like, you better throw a man. Is it Dennis? It's not Dennis Smith. The Smith Jr. Is it Jr.?
Jabari Smith Jr.
Jabari Smith Jr. Throw him in there. So Jabari. Do I want a Jalen Green? I do not want a Jalen Green. Would you take a Jalen Green for Giannis? Nah, dude, nah.
He's shown strides this season, but honestly, the crown jewel I think in that organization is between Sengun and Amen Thompson.
Dude,
those
bingo.
Those two. If I were them, you would try to keep at all costs.
But that's the thing, right? So if the Raptors,
you know what though, Giannis in a Rockets jersey, playing with that young core, that would be nice. They got some good young assets there, man. They got a ton of guys that don't even play that are good, like a Cam Whitmore, Reed Shepherd. These don't even get minutes, and they're nice.
Dude, Reed Shepherd was supposed to be the next coming, bro, and this guy had zero PT. I would love to see what he could have been able to do, man.
Is that like a, not play style wise, but in terms of situation, is that like a Dyson Daniels in the Pelicans situation where he got no PT, but they were sitting on a star? You know what I mean, not in the same way, but do you think Reed Shepherd could go to another team and be like a serious bucket getter?
He could be. However, with the Dyson Daniels situation, he got some PT, but they're just a log jam in guards in Houston.
Yeah,
you know, so there's Jalen Green, there's Amen Thompson, there's Fred VanVleet. There was just way too much going on there, you know. But Reed Shepherd, I think that boy's gonna be nice. Especially what I saw in the summer league, I was like, all right, cool. He's next up. You know, he could shoot it. He could distribute the rock. Like he was.
Didn't he have like a 40 piece in the G League this year?
Yeah, the 40. Did he? I'm not on it.
Some high 30s or 40 piece something. He was crazy. He snapped.
He was balling. But if the Rockets want to get Giannis, dude, I think you have the package and Amen and a Sengun.
Yeah, and Amen and a Sengun.
I believe so. Dude. If we have to give up a Scotty,
if I'm the Rockets, I'm definitely not doing that. I'm not doing that. Because who else do you have? You got Giannis, Jalen Green, Cam Whitmore, Dylan Brooks. Pull up the roster, bro. Ain't no way.
Dude, you
can't, bro. Those guys are so young, and they're some of the best young stars in our league right now. You can't, bro. You can't do that. Let me just pick it back up with the Spurs talk real quick before we jump into that. The Spurs, again, would be really good if they partnered with KD, if they kept a lot of their young pieces, added the CP3. That would be scary because they were knocking on the door to the playoffs last year. They kind of fell off as the year went on.
Homeboy got hurt.
Yeah, and then you get hurt, so obviously you're gonna lose some games. But man, the Spurs, it's crazy because like I swear we could do this with every single team. Any team you throw a Giannis on, minus a couple of assets, you're like, oh, that team is still pretty damn nice. You know what I mean? Maybe they're not going to win the whole thing, but Giannis on any team looks great. So yeah, you would have so no Amen Thompson. Who do we say? No Amen and no Alperen Sengun. So then you have Jalen Green.
You have to throw in Antari Eason in there as well.
And Tari Eason,
because if the Raptors
like the hidden gem of the league, Tari Eason,
bro. I'm telling you, they're gonna have to. Because like, if you compare it to like the package Raptors that the Milwaukee Bucks is asking from the Raptors, they're asking for a Scotty, a Puddle, as well as Grady.
Come on, bro. You can't give up Scotty, bro.
And neither will the Rockets. But the Rockets, the same thing, right? They will have to give up one of these star guys. This Rockets young core is nice.
I'm telling you, this Rockets young core is one of my favorite in the league.
Dude, it's beautiful, man.
It's really
like for me. It's like I would never want to like disrupt my young core, bro. I want to keep. I want to ride it. This is my vision. Let me see my vision pan out.
Look at what OKC did. OKC did this exact method. They just kept their young guys, and they just kept
the plug in the right pieces.
Yeah, you just throw in a Caruso here, Hartenstein here. And all of a sudden, man, you're looking at a really damn good team.
Yo, when was the last time, apart from the KD era, you plugged in a superstar? Apart from the KD and Kawhi Leonard era, you plugged in a superstar and they actually went to the finals and won.
Damon Giannis didn't work.
It did not work. New York, they got a cat. Bronson.
Is he a superstar though? Nah. Because when I think superstar, I think top 5, maybe top 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It hardly ever works.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like, I think you're right. Nowadays, this day and age, it doesn't work. I think the new formula to success, and we mentioned this on the last pod, is depth. Double down on your young guys. Obviously, draft correctly, and if you need to trade to get the right young guys, get the right young guys. But do that route. Everybody look at OKC and what they're doing, and try to replicate that. Just hone in on your young talent, develop them, try to get more two-way or like defensive-minded players, with good offensive games, and just go from there. If you have one or two guys that are lights out offensively, but they're a sludge defensively, that's fine too. Because not everyone needs to play defense, bro. I'm a big believer in that. It's like this New York Knicks team. The reason why they were as successful as they were, and they had a Eastern Conference Finals team. Like, Cat's not a good defender, bro, but that boy is lights out offensively. One of the best big men shooters ever.
He's going to give you 40, but he's also going to give up 40.
But at the end of the day, he's the reason why they're here, bro. Without Cat, like, if you put Randall in that situation, I don't think they make it this far.
No, hell no.
No. So.
Well, then again, the Minnesota Timberwolves still made it as far as
different team, different makeup, right. Different identity. Like, so I don't know, but.
And he was balling too in the Western Conference Finals.
He was balling. No, he balled all playoffs. No shot at Julius Randle, but I'm just saying, like, the offensive talent that Karl Anthony Towns is, you can't compare. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean, to Julius Randle. All respect given, though, he's a nice player. I don't think he gets the respect he deserves. Okay. Do you want to jump into a little KD talk? Because KD was also linked to the Raptors. There are a bunch of teams interested, and there was some trade ideas floated around. I know we kind of went over it a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you have anyone, like, in particular that you felt would be, like, a really good fit with KD? I know I got one team.
Minnesota. I think it'll be a really good fit in Minnesota, just in terms of, like, one thing that I noticed in Minnesota was the fact that you can't really give the ball to anyone apart from, like, an Ant to go out there and get a bucket. Like, Ant did not have a certified two. Like, obviously Randall was that guy, but you can lock down a Randall. Randall is extremely inconsistent. When you really need him, you can really lock in on Randall. Take away that left hand, bro. Him trying to get a bucket with his opposing hand is very difficult for him. And so for me, it's I can definitely see KD on that Minnesota team. Him and Ant teaming up there that'll be an amazing fit. Also on the Raptors, I think it'd be an amazing fit on the Raptors as well. They would just need to tweak that starting lineup a little bit.
You gotta tweak really multiple pieces, I feel like, for the Raptors. One team that I thought would be amazing would be the Rockets. The Rockets were my team where I looked at, okay, if they added a KD, if they added that guy who could just give him walk on the floor, give him 25 to 30, that is a dangerous team because they have the defense, they have those young stars, and KD is just a certified bucket. I just feel like that the marriage of all of those elements would just bode so well in the playoffs. And man, if you put KD on that Rockets team against that Golden State squad, who would be winning that series?
Yeah, come on. That's too easy.
You know what I mean?
That's too easy.
So, yeah, it's man, it's gonna get interesting. Honestly, I want to dive back into this like as the finals end and we have like more. You know, we can kind of go through more hypotheticals. I think this is a conversation we definitely have to revisit. The next thing that I want to get into here, just a little bit of minor news. Obviously, big news for the player, but minor news in terms of the NBA space. So Zach Edey needing ankle surgery, so he's going to miss the beginning of the NBA season after re-spraining his ankle, as per Shams on Twitter or X. So how do you feel about Zach? How do you feel about that news,
dude? As previously mentioned about Wemby, just in terms of players that are over 7'3", 7'4". Like we need to start thinking about the lower extremities and the issues that persist with players being that tall, right? So he's already having issues with his foot. I believe prior to the draft as well, he had some injury woes prior to the draft. All right, so it's even with Wemby, he also had issues. I believe he had like a fracture in his foot prior to the draft. So it's like these players that are over 7'2", 7'3", their health becomes a question. So like mentioned as well with KD and Embiid, they had issues with their lower extremities. So this is extremely worrisome for me. Especially as a GM, this is something that I will not take lightly. I have to make sure that he's completely 100%. Because, dude, when it comes to the lower extremities, you gotta make sure that you're 100% before you get into the game. Because the last thing that you want is that recurring issue with Yao Ming as well. We can also throw Yao Ming in that mix. His career got ended abruptly just because of issues with his foot. So there's a recurring issue and a recurring trend with players that are seven plus, just in terms of their lower extremities. Shaq was with the anomaly, right? But his career got ended short because of his weight issues. So for me, as a Memphis Grizzlies, coaching staff, GM, whatsoever, I think this is definitely something I would worry about. However, hopefully, it's not as serious as I'm perceiving it. Maybe it's just for maintenance, but it's definitely something to worry about.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's it's difficult. It's tough news, especially because his developmental curve was it was on the way up.
Yeah.
We've seen him kind of put his game together towards the end of last season. So it is a bummer for them. The only thing that I would say that, I don't think is that big of a deal is because it's, it's his ankle. So, fortunately, it's not something, that could potentially be more severe. So that would be my only knock with it. And he is still very young. So hopefully it's a situation like where you see, some young players, they have injuries early on in their career. And then it kind of settled, like they figure out maybe how to tackle the fact of being injury prone. You know what I mean? And they're just able to, like a KD, like you said. Let me just give an example. So like KD, for example, he, was injured a lot early career. But then as his career went on, he started to figure it out. You know what I mean? Maybe he got with the right medical staff. And maybe he got, he tweaked a lot of things with how he took care of his body to avoid those injuries. So that's kind of the thing that I'm talking about. So, prayers up for Zach. Hope everything's all good. Great young talent in our league. The next thing I wanted to jump into, huge news. It's more college basketball news, though. Grant House and Sedona Prince versus National College Athletic Association. Class action lawsuit brought against the NCAA and 5 collegiate athletic conferences in which the NCAA agreed to allow its members institutions to distribute funds to Division I athletes who have played since 2016. A proposed settlement was approved from the court on June 6, 2025. With $2.7 billion, settlement approved. College sports big money era is officially here. Darrell, I want to hear your thoughts about that, bro.
the amount of funds that these D1 athletes generate just from March Madness alone is ridiculous, and the fact that they get 0%, that at the point in time they had 0% on the revenue that is generated is actually ridiculous. So I think it is about time that these players are starting to, just get some of that, right? Because there's so many players that may get hurt during their collegiate years, and they may never actually make their way into the NBA. However, or even anywhere else. However, if they're able to at least monetize during the collegiate years, at least they can at least take care of their families prior to that. So I think this is an amazing feat. It took too damn long for this for this to come to fruition, and now I think it's just more so now. Let's just make sure that these players are actually giving their all.
Yeah,
right. Because obviously with the NIL deals as well, with this with this new legislation here as well. Hopefully, like, the quality of the game and is still the same, because once again, once you mix money with the actual product, you never know exactly what you may get, right? Especially look at the NBA, man. They increase the salary cap for these players, and the quality of the game has never been the same. So March Madness and NCAA basketball, I think just the game itself, in my opinion, is way better than the NBA, right? So I do believe that just in terms of how passionate some of these players are, just in terms of the game itself, I believe, to me, I just enjoy watching it more so than I do the NBA. NBA is way more entertaining. There's a whole lot more entertainment when it comes to gameplay. I like the NCAA better, but I think it's about time some of these players just get the dues that they are generating for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the NCAA has long been exploiting, these players for their talents. Back to there's been a long history of it. One thing that I could think of that was a really big point for me was these NCAA college games, right? Video games where you have the collegiate player in there, but you know what I mean? And there was also a big lawsuit based around that as well, where I think a mother of a player in a video game was like, yo, like, you can't be using my son in a video game, but they don't make, you know what I mean, anything off of that. So yeah, it's been long overdue. A lot of these players, like you said, this is their peak of their life, and to not be able to potentially peak of their financial life is what I mean to say. And, to not be able to capitalize, literally and figuratively on this opportunity and, make as much money as they can, it's a shame. And the fact that, these networks and NCAA as an institution makes money off of it, and the players don't, it's tough. It's tough because, like you said, the product, a lot of the time, you would enjoy more than maybe an NBA. Yep. You know what I mean? Because the game the game is different, the rules are different, but just the emotion is a lot more raw. You see the plethora of fans in these huge arenas. You see the bands, the cheerleaders. You see more of a systematic play style where these coaches really have their identity engraved within these different college teams. So it's really cool to see that element of it. So you're right. There is an element of, there's an elite element of gameplay that comes along with college sports. And these kids are so damn passionate. You know what I mean? They're so damn passionate about their sport. They want to get to the next level too. They want to make the pros in whatever sport they choose. So yeah, I think it's about time they made some money. But again, it just comes down to mixing it. Like you said, you don't want, the money to come in and to kind of pervert, if I can use that word, the product that you're seeing, and these young guys that are getting money in the NBA at 22, 23, 24, that's already young enough, to be getting this type of money. Imagine they start getting money like this when they're 18, 19. You know what I mean? It could bring about a whole bunch of problems, or even just expedite the props that they would have even in their early 20s, because that's still very young, as we know. We were just there not too long ago. So
a long time ago.
It's so you feel what I mean? It's tough, but when I saw this, I was like, this is massive news, and I knew it was something we had to bring about. And I'm just so excited and happy for all the future college players that are going to be able to make some money off of the game that they love, because like I said, this could be their peak, you know what I mean? And it's just super important for them to get that.
And as we are speaking right now, the Thunder is giving the Pacers an old-fashioned whooping right now, 42-27. However, never count out those Pacers, man.
Man, never count them out. What's the score right now?
42-27.
42-27. Okay.
The Thunder.
Top of the second quarter. Okay, I like it. Let's see how it plays out. Sheesh. I need to win this one. That's for sure. All right, brother. Any final thoughts about anything we spoke up on today's pod? Because I think we're basically towards the end, brother.
Yeah. Once again, I just believe one of the most interesting news so far all of last week, and for the next month and some change is going to be the Giannis situation. Everyone is still trying to figure out exactly where Giannis lands, right? And also another potential landing spot that we didn't really mention was the Dallas Mavericks. You know, they could easily have to give up the least amount for Giannis. Just give up the first round pick for Giannis.
Giannis, AD, Kyrie, Cooper Flag, Gaff, Derek Lively.
Yeah, they would have to give up a
deadly team. They would have to give up somebody.
Coop, that number one pick. Man, they would have to get. They
were just gifted Coop by the NBA, bro. How they give up Coop?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, so like any Giannis, any trade talk between the Mavs for Giannis, yeah, definitely. Flag has to be in that discussion.
For sure.
You know,
I can see it. I can see it, man. The NBA has just been like, there's been a lot of surprises. Yeah. Let me put it like that. Yeah, like this past year.
For sure.
A lot of crazy trades and a lot of just crazy storylines, like with the Pacers, right? And what they're doing in the playoffs and the crazy surprise they turn around in game one of the finals. And then when you think about the Mavs getting the number one pick, Luka going to the Lakers, it's just like this season was just honestly it was
messy.
It was a joy, man. It was a joy. Yeah, it was messy, but it was a fun mess. I'll tell you that, brother. I want to jump into a new segment with you, man.
Oh, let's get it.
So we're gonna bring a new segment to you guys. It's called Sideline Talks. This is
Sideline Talks.
We kind of derail from the the more serious topic.
Let's get some fun going.
You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So Sideline Talk brings fun NBA-themed challenges, clever trivia, and entertaining segments for hoops fans of all kinds. So we're going to jump into something here, Darrell. So take a look at the screen, my brother. I put something together here for you, man. We're going to get a few laughs out of this, man. So we're about to rank some NBA glow-ups here, bro. So the first one, we got James Harden. So I want you to give me a ranking 1 through 10. 10 being like a crazy elite glow up, 1 being like, oh, he changed a little bit and he looks somewhat the same. So I want you to talk to me. So as you can see here, James Harden, I think this was when he was in high school versus like more of a modern day James Harden.
I believe he went to Arizona, correct? College?
Yes.
University?
Yes.
Okay. That's a crazy glow up, man, especially with the beard. Come on, man. That's a complete transformation. I would say from a scale of 1 to 10, that's definitely a 10 because those are two different people.
Bro, completely different.
It doesn't look like the same guy.
Bro, it's crazy how much of a difference like a clean fade and a beard would do for you, bro.
Exactly.
It's crazy. So this one is definitely elite on my spectrum. Yeah, I'm going to have to give it, man, if it's got to be a 10.
That's a 10
I mean,
sure.
He looks completed. He went from like, hey, man, he looks way different. Yeah, that's a 10. This is the next one here. So Steph Curry, not as much facial hair here, but
I would say the changes are very minute. I would say the only changes there is the goatee and maybe added on another 40, 50 pounds.
Yeah.
From
muscle, yep.
Yeah, I would say maybe a 5.
A 5, okay.
He hasn't really changed much. You can stare. As soon as you stare at that pic on the left and him in the Knights, you can just tell that's Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Like the previous picture of Harden. You can tell that's Harden, man. You have to
for
like.
Sure. That is true. Yeah,
you have to truly know ball to know that's Harden.
For sure.
Yeah, so I would say that's a very minute change. I would give that a 5.
Yeah. I feel like the facial hair is not as drastic of a difference as James Harden, and I feel like really this is just like a transition, boys to men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sure. Like here he was like a kid versus like being a grown man. You get the little facial hair going. He kind of figured out his haircut of choice and whatnot. Yeah. So I'm with you. I'm in that mid range as well. I'm actually gonna say a 3 because really he just matured. He grew up and he threw on some facial hair, so I don't really think it was too crazy. He looks damn near the same, Anyway, I mean, Steph has been aging really well so far. Next one, we got Kawhi.
The board man, baby.
Man, board man gets paid. So I believe this was a picture again in his high school days compared to pretty recent.
Ain't shit changed, bro. That's the same, man. Ain't shit changed, man. Golly. However, goodness. I would say like the braid up is a little bit more fresh. The braid up is a little bit more fresh, man. So yeah, I would say a 5 and a 6. In terms of the glow up, he was able to get a fresh braid up and a fresh lineup. Looks like on a weekly basis there on the right. Yeah, no, it ain't much. You can tell that's a board man.
Yeah. I like it, man. Definitely a much fresher braid up. He got a little lineup, you could tell too, kind of maintain the edges and whatnot. Looks more confident in the second picture, man. He looks like he came into his own as a man.
Yeah.
But there's not too much of a difference. Again, boys to men situation. I'm feeling like it's a good change though. Like I feel like a 7.
7,
like
okay.
7,
fair within the same spectrum as I am.
I feel like
6, 7, yeah. Oh Lord.
AD.
Oh Lord.
AD, man. Yo, you could tell AD was tending to that unibrow on the left picture, bro. And he grew up and he's just like, you know what? It is what it is. This is who I am.
Yeah.
You got to respect it, but
damn, it's funny what a beard and a to your point as well, beard and a fresh fade can do for a man, bro.
I'm telling you.
Edey went from can I get your number till she almost calls me daddy. You know what I'm saying? But that unibrow was crazy. That unibrow has been a thing from day one. So I would say it's a minute change. You can still tell it's AD.
He looks way different though, bro.
You think so? I think it's the glass.
Yeah, bro.
I could still see like the facial structure.
The beard, yeah, for sure. But like the beard and like the clean cut, and he's got the little. I don't know if you want to call it a design, but like the cut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It looks fresh.
Fresh as hell.
It's fresh, bro.
I would say it's about a 6 or 7. You can still tell it's AD minus the glasses and the fade and the beard. And there's something about he has a very distinct face.
I feel you.
He has a very distinct face, so you can really tell. It is a glow up. It's still a glow up, so I'll give him still a 6, 7.
I'll agree with you there.
Oh Lord.
So this next one is hilarious. I had to include this one. Gordon Hayward went from "Where's my hug" to "Red at 2:30 a.m."
That's crazy.
Man, Gordon Hayward looks completely different. My boy on the left looks like, I don't know, like
yeah, no honeys, bro.
Oof, none at all. And then on the right, he looks like he's about to audition for the next Superman role or something,
facts,
bro.
Man.
He looks a lot better. Again, just like a recognition of like his facial structure, understanding that he's trying to like, bro, the haircut, just night and day.
That's crazy.
On the left, he has like the young Justin Bieber, and on the right, he's like, yo, I'm a man now.
Right,
That's what it is.
It all goes to show what a stylist could do for you, dude. Someone that truly understands you, understand your facial structure, understands your personality, and understand the situation that you're in. You know what I'm saying? Yes, so like for the fact that someone let him leave his house with the cut that he had on the left is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Come on, that is ridiculous. And also shout out to Gordon Hayward, man. If it wasn't for that injury that he sustained on the Boston Celtics, dude, he would have been till this day, one of the top 2 guards in the league, man.
For sure.
Because like there was a discussion at the time, was either Gordon Hayward or DeMar DeRozan. Who would you take at that time, you know? But with that being said, yeah, man, that's a 10 for sure. Beard, lineup, fade. Come on, man.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you there. Complete transformation. Could hardly even tell it's the same person, I swear. Marc Gasol. So Marc Gasol, man.
Come on, bro.
Oh, boy.
Dude.
He's looking different. He looks like a happy kid on the right, and now he just looks like on the left, he just looks like, fit, been working on himself. Beard, obviously, intact. Obviously opted for the shorter haircut. Got kind of a cleaner look, a more masculine look going on. But I don't think it's too drastic. I'll probably put it in a it's like pretty mid. It's like a 5 to me because, you know what I mean? It's just like he just grew up.
It's just a weight loss and a beard.
It's not like year 1 NBA to like now kind of thing. He's a full kid on the right.
That's a chubby ass kid, man. Yeah, I would give it a solid.
That's a 7-footer too, bro.
Jeez, and I'll definitely give him a 6, 7 in terms of the transformation.
Okay.
And shout out to the work ethic, man, to just keep that up, especially at his age, bro. Just being able to just stay committed, and that's why, bro. That's why he's the champ, and that's why he is one of the greatest defenders of all time. But damn, yeah. So I'll definitely give him a 6, 7 in terms of that transformation.
Shout out to my guy Marc Gasol, bro. Zach LaVine. So this was him in his college days, UCLA, and then now he, man. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, the beard, man. The beard just completely
just does everything right.
Changed that man's outlook, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
Nah, I would say you can still tell it's Zach LaVine. I think it's just the beard. The beard just transformed into a different person.
Yeah.
I would definitely give that transformation. Yeah, that's that. He definitely glowed up.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds so sus right now, man. Yeah, so I'll definitely give him a 6, 7 just in terms of transformation, because the transformation is very minute. It's just the beard, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Still,
for sure.
Still the exact same facial structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm going to give it like a 3, bro. He just he grew out his hair a little bit and he got the beard going. So I'll give it a 3.
Yeah, okay.
Solid transformation, though,
Giannis. Come on, man.
Woo.
Come on, man. If I can go beyond the 10, I would go beyond the 10 here, just in terms of that transformation. Dude, my guy put on I believe it was like 40, 60 pounds of muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. He went from looking like like KD to looking like Superman, bro. Dude.
Bro.
Dude, that's definitely a 10 out of 10. I think that's one of the greatest transformation in sports history, bro. Just in terms of when you put it in perspective, the kid that was drafted by the Bucks to the man that Giannis is today, because his transformation keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps going, man.
Yeah.
I think he has actually one of the craziest transformation out of everyone on this list, because everyone on the list, their transformation is more so obviously the aesthetics, but then Giannis is more than just the aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
When you incorporate the mentality, the game, how raw he was when he got into the league, to the player that he is today.
Yeah.
For me, I'm just gonna factor all of that into what he is in this photo and just say
it's like a complete transformation. Not only
just a physical
looks wise, but who he became as a player.
100%.
You know what I mean? He really started off you could tell here he was probably 19 or something like that.
Yeah, 100%.
And then now being 30, he put on a ton of muscle. Honestly, shout out to Giannis. This is a huge glow up. This is for sure a 10.
I miss those Bucks jerseys, man. They gotta bring them back.
I like the color scheme.
Yeah, color scheme is nice. The green and red.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It reminds me of like Michael Red. When I see
yes, Michael Red.
You know what I mean? Jeez. That's like that era to me. Crazy. So a couple of these ones I had to include, bro, because they're so funny. I was searching up NBA glow up pics to try to prep for this, bro. Steph Curry, who is that man on the left, brother? My goodness. And crazy. Why do they eerily look similar though? What is?
Damn.
That's like Steph's Mexican cousin, bro.
That's like Steph Mex. Jeez.
Yo, that's crazy.
That's funny, bro. Nah. What's up with Homeboy's lineup though, man?
Yo, that's crazy.
Yo, what's going on, my boy? I'll be cheesing with you, bro,
put this together, these are insane.
Oh, that's funny as hell.
KD.
Oh, no, that's ridiculous. Where these guys finding these, bro?
Bro, I'm trying to tell you, this is insane,
like KD, jeez.
Oh my gosh, bro.
That's funny, man.
Crazy, bro. So, I wanted to jump into another segment with you here, man. So, let's go ahead and tier rank NBA team cities by lifestyle, fun factor, atmosphere.
Okay.
If you were a player, you could, any team was there for you to get drafted to, let's say, where would you want to go? So let's jump into it, brother. Just give me one moment here. All right, so let's pull it up. So the 76ers, my guy, where would you rate that on a list between, S being the best, D being the worst?
The city of brotherly love, man. They got some of the craziest sports fans out there. I'll put them in an A tier, man. I'll put them in an A tier for sure.
Put them in an A tier.
Put them in A tier because the only reason because those Philly fans are crazy. Those Philly fans are crazy. And also, come on, man, you guys got some of one of my favorite artists. Well, back in the day, McMillie, baby, he's from Philly.
Yeah,
McMillie's from Philly. So, and also Kyle Lowry, one of the greatest rappers of all time, so from Philly. You know what I'm saying? So, put him in an A tier for now for sure. What about you?
All right, yeah. I'll agree with that. We'll go one after the other. So we'll go A. You want him in an A tier? I'll go A tier. No stress. Okay, Wizards. All right.
Washington.
Okay, this is how I feel about Wizards, bro. They're in the DMV. You know, a lot of cool states there to bounce around from. A lot of cool stuff going on. Of course, you have all the history in Washington D.C. You got the White House.
Got the Washington Monument.
You know what I mean? You got some good spots to eat.
Yep.
I feel like it's solid, but I feel like it's sort of middle of the road. Like I don't feel like outside of like going to see American history, would you want? And like, of course, if you're American already playing, for an American team, like Washington, you probably already seen it anyway. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's kind of a middle of the road for me. I'm gonna take them at a B. Take them at a B. Atlanta Hawks.
ATL. Yeah, I got ATL S tier for sure.
Yeah, ATL would be nice.
S tier for sure. You know what I'm saying? I got family ATL. I definitely gotta make my way down to Atlanta, baby. Come on, man. You got, I believe the Magic City is not in Atlanta. It's damn, where was Sweet Lou?
Sweet Lou's ATL. I swear that's ATL.
No, it was in Magic City.
He went for either Vegas or ATL.
I believe Magic City is.
Yeah, punch it in.
Where did Sweet Lou got the lemon pepper from, man?
Lemon pepper wings. I swear that's ATL, brother. Has to be. Magic City, Atlanta. Has to be.
It is Atlanta, baby.
Yeah, bro. Has to be.
Yeah.
Sweet Lou.
Magic City, baby.
Yeah, man.
I gotta stop by one day, man. Get some of that lemon pepper wings, bruv.
See what I'm saying? Cavs.
Cleveland, Ohio. Nah.
For me, brother.
That's a D tier for me, bro.
I'm not on it.
Nah.
At all. Nah. Cleveland, Ohio. No thanks. Nah. Shout out LeBron. But that's about it. I'll take him at a D.
Nah.
Yeah.
Detroit. Get out of here, bro.
Yeah,
put him in a D tier as well, bro.
I'll put him in a C.
In a C tier.
I'll put him in a C. They got like sports
Motown,
teams.
okay.
You can go across the border if you want to go to Windsor. I'm feeling a C on that. Just because I feel like Detroit has like a little bit more things to see, things to do. They got like a hip hop history.
They
Jay
do.
Dillis from there.
They do. Motown.
You know what I mean? Probably Motown.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
They got some history. Okay, cool. I'll give you that.
You know what I mean?
I'll give you that.
I'm not gonna put them right at the bottom. Indiana. C.
I'll see as well.
Yeah.
However, they're about their NASCAR, man.
They're about their NASCAR and they're about their college sports.
Yeah. I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'll put them in a C
you know
for
what I mean?
sure.
C. Let's go for a C there. Milwaukee.
Yeah, and I'll put them down there with Milwaukee.
Yeah,
so
I feel like
with the Cavs, man.
I feel like they're in the D as well. Toronto, stop playing
Toronto,
around.
baby, put Toronto on the S tier for sure. Come on, baby. The city with the most beautiful women in the world, man. Come on.
Hey, give your reasoning. Most beautiful women in the world. What else?
Most beautiful and culture. Come on, very diverse. You name it here, man. You name it, you're gonna find it. If you like Chinese food, you're gonna get your Chinese food. Just pull up to freaking Kensington Market. You're gonna get some nice Chinese food. Giannis. Come on, man. We got a Danforth, baby.
That's it, man.
The biggest freaking Greek community outside of actually Greece.
Yes.
Come on, bro.
Yes.
We got the Danforth. You name it. We have we have India in Toronto.
Little India, yeah.
You know
Little Italy.
Little Italy. We got it. You name it. We got it out here, man.
Yeah. We got crazy summers. We got Caravana going on in the summer. We got we got the CNE happening.
You got the CN Tower.
Very diverse city.
You know what I'm saying?
Huge African community too. Giannis.
Shout out.
Come on, man. You know what I mean? Most beautiful women in the world, most definitely.
Most def.
So we got to go in the S tier. Dallas Mavs.
Dallas, yeah. I put Dallas in the S as well, man.
I was going for an A.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you feel S.
Yeah, Dallas is a. Come
you
on,
said
man.
it first.
You got us, so obviously Dallas. For just the Edey, just the functions out there. You got the Cowboys. It's a big football city. You know what I'm saying? So it's I like Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Denver
Nuggets.
Colorado.
The Rockies.
The Rockies.
Camping, trails. If
depends.
you're an outdoorsy person, bro, I feel like Steven Adams would absolutely love it.
Yeah. I'll put him in a B.
I'll put him. Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say C.
Yeah.
But you said B first. We'll go with a B. Grizz, I'm gonna take them in a. I can't even lie. I want to take them in a D. I don't want to be disrespectful, so I'll say a C.
Memphis is actually a lit city, man. You know, you got because Memphis is really gonna
For what, strip clubs?
I believe it's like country. It depends. I believe it's like Memphis is really good with like country music, like Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay. Truthfully, I don't know enough about Memphis.
Wait, hold on. Is Memphis, Tennessee, or is it Nashville, Tennessee? Hold on.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe Miley Cyrus is from Memphis.
No, I think she's from Nashville. Memphis, Tennessee, bro.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not in love with it. Feel like it would be okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe. I like Memphis. It has a really big community, country music community.
But that's the thing. As an NBA player, do you want that? Do you care about that? You know what I mean? As a young man.
Are we talking like as a black man or like?
I mean, most likely, more than likely, brother. Like,
oh hell no! Oh hell no!
You feel what I'm saying?
Oh hell no! Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
I don't know. I'm feeling a C on that one. T-Wolves, Minnesota.
Yeah, put them in the C as well,
Minnesota.
man.
I don't know, man. They could be like what is there to do in Minnesota, bro? It could be a D.
Yeah, you could put them right there with the Alaskas. No, man. Yeah, no. Put them in there. I'm with you.
Yeah. Spurs.
San Antonio. I'll put San Antonio.
Again, Texas.
Yeah.
Weather.
Yeah.
That's one thing we haven't even mentioned so far. Weather.
No taxes.
No taxes.
Well, limited taxes. So I'll put them up there as well with.
Probably an A.
Yeah.
Okay. The history too. Loyal fan base. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have some great fans backing you. Utah Jazz.
Yeah, nah, man. Put it
down
there.
Probably a D. Yeah. Probably D. LA Clippers.
Come on, it's LA, baby. Come on.
You gotta go LA. You gotta think weather. You gotta think
activities.
You gotta think things to do.
The beaches. You got beautiful beaches out there.
Yeah. Come you gotta think the sporting events.
You got Hollywood out there as well.
Celebrities, especially if you're, a young ball player, you're trying to network, you're trying to maybe meet some women. Mm-hmm. I feel like that could be a good place for you for sure. Clippers.
Phoenix, Arizona.
I'm feeling an A for this.
Yeah, me too. I'm feeling A for Arizona as well, man.
Amazing weather, first and foremost. It might be too hot, actually.
Might be.
You know what I mean?
But from what I've heard, everyone that's been, resident of Phoenix or of Arizona, they really love it out there, man. So
you
cannot complain.
Yeah. All right, let's go A. Portland, rainy.
Oregon. Yeah, no.
Oregon just don't sound nice. Yeah. Shout out to all my people from Oregon. Put us on. If we're completely wrong, please comment, because I've never been to Portland. Have you been to Portland?
Never.
Don't plan on it either. But if it's lit and it should be on my bucket list,
my mind.
Please let me know. What are we doing, C or D here?
Yeah, I'll put them in a C.
Okay. Sacramento Kings.
Cali.
Weather.
Yeah. Put them up. However, Sacramento is like the dumps of Cali.
That's right. Yeah. And in terms of the basketball landscape too, it's not.
It ain't it.
Yeah, that's not the one.
But at the end of the day, still in Cali, man. I'll put them in an A.
But nobody really cares about the Kings.
Yeah.
A.
I'll put them in A just because of Cali, man.
Because the weather, the vibe, probably.
New York,
it has to be an S.
That's an S here, baby. That's the biggest.
MSG, the Mecca.
That's the biggest.
You know what I mean?
Market in basketball, bro.
Crazy big market, loyal fans, maybe a bit crazy, but a lot of the fan bases on here are crazy. You got to go S. New Orleans Pelicans.
New Orleans,
when
I like
think
New Orleans.
I think music.
Mardi Gras.
I think soul food. Mm-hmm. Mardi Gras. Yeah, I feel like it could be cool. I feel like people out there. Same with Memphis too. I feel like people out there would just be mad chill. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
The party, they love the party. They love the food. Yeah. It's a culture. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. I'll definitely put it in a B tier.
Yeah, I think this is a B.
I think that's the reason why Zion
weather's probably
stay out of trouble.
Weather's definitely really good. Charlotte Hornets.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
North Carolina. Man, I'm kind of stumped on this one.
Weather will be good. Start with that. Vibe, atmosphere. Off default, because I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not that bad of a city, though. I'll probably put in a C.
Put him in C as well. So I'll say this though, because my shorty, she's been raving about North Carolina. She wants to go to North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah. So just because of her, I'll put her at a B.
Okay. It'll be.
At a B.
All right.
Because of her. Because she hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't give 2 Fs.
Yeah. Houston Rockets.
Houston Rockets, another big market.
It's got to be up there.
No taxes.
Again, in Texas, no. Yeah.
Yeah. I put them in, yeah.
18. I feel like the team in and of itself, the logo, like, I feel like people care about the Rockets out there. You know what? I feel like Texas.
All of Texas.
I feel like all of Texas, like from
yeah.
the Spurs to Rockets to Mavs, I feel like they all have loyal fan bases. Are we going S for
I'll
Houston?
put an S here for Rockets,
Okay.
man. Miami.
Miami, super S.
Come on,
No
man.
question.
Come on, man.
Weather,
100%.
networking,
Beaches.
quality of life,
Come on,
beaches. Gotta go S. Gotta go
Nightlife.
S there. Nightlife, definitely. Chicago Bulls, windy city, rainy, windy. I feel like there's lots to do. I feel like a great metropolitan area.
You also have one of the highest crime rates in the country.
Right, for sure. But where you'll be frequenting as an NBA player, I don't think it'll involve that.
I'll put them in an A tier just
I'll
because.
put 'em in A.
Just because of the climate, the weather, and everything like that.
Yeah, I feel like the weather brings them down, and I feel like. But then again, the same could be said about Toronto too. It's like the weather's not.
It ain't the best.
There, like I might even have to move Toronto down to an A. We might have been a bit too biased on that.
Might have been.
You know?
However, I just believe just in terms of the culture, man. We have
I know,
we're so
that's the thing.
diverse. We're so diverse.
The diversity is the key there.
You know what I'm saying?
Brooklyn Nets, little brother to the New York.
I'll put
Knicks.
Brooklyn in an A tier for sure.
Yeah, Barclays.
Yeah, I'll put them in an A tier.
Food, diversity,
Yeah,
culture.
But I think that's all.
Brooklyn is a cool city.
It's a cool city. However, just New York, man. When because obviously you're gonna compare Brooklyn to New York.
Of course, yeah.
You know, so like when you compare apples to apples, it ain't the same, man.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, no, that's
For everything else, they're a S, but I feel like to play in, like,
yeah.
I know those boys aren't staying in OKC
Nah, man.
past the season.
No, some of the season over there, out of there, man.
No. C.
Yeah, I'll put them in a C.
I feel like they might be a D. I feel like, okay, the weather bumps them to a C because you know for sure they got good weather over there.
G State,
Golden State.
another Cali squad.
Yeah, has to be an S.
S tier, man.
Has to be an S there.
Easy.
Has to be an S. Boston Celtics.
Boston.
I mean,
I'll put them in an A tier.
I'm feeling an S for this one, bro.
Yeah. I guess
Has to, bro.
one
So
of
Celtics-
one of the original 6.
You know what I mean? The history.
I guess.
The
But I think it's
fan
always,
base.
just in terms of Boston, though.
TD Garden is a rocking place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Great
Yeah, I'm
home,
with you. I'm
home
with you.
fans. Diverse. Red Sox there too. If you want to go see some history, Bruins. I mean, some historic franchises for different sports. I feel like they would be a S.
I'm with it.
Yeah, just especially if we're judging based off of vibe too. I feel like the vibe, but like to say you're a Boston Celtic would be pretty cool. Even coming from a Toronto fan, where like, you know, we haven't really necessarily liked them too much, but
For sure.
I'm feeling that. Lakers, no question.
Come on, S
That's
tier.
a S
For
tier.
sure.
Orlando, I feel like
It's an A tier.
weather-wise, yeah, I was gonna say S, but I'll agree with you on an A. We'll agree on an A. So I think this is pretty solid. Let's take one last look.
Okay, so
Okay.
I would move the Spurs to an S tier. Because I believe all Houston teams, all
You mean all Texas teams?
Texas teams,
Okay.
I think they have a solid foundation.
I think
man.
Toronto, you move to an A because the weather, bro, and when they play in season, could be very snowy, very miserable
That's
outside.
fair. That's fair. And also just in terms of customs, there's been just traveling back and forth from
The
Toronto.
extra taxes.
Yeah.
You could say the same about the Knicks, but I just feel
But
like
that's
the
the
market.
But
Yeah,
think so. You play for
can't-
New York. You're obviously you're gonna get slapped with freaking damn near 40% taxes. However, just in terms of the possibility of landing, sponsors here and there.
It would be huge.
Come on, man.
It would be huge.
Who else can we move up there?
I feel like Denver we could probably put into a B.
Denver.
Yeah, I feel like the weather's not great in Denver, but I feel like, the outdoors
Yeah, Denver definitely
would be
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know.
I'm not really
how viable that would be.
I'm not really
if
with
you-
it with
if I
Denver,
was
man.
NBA,
Denver, you
but-
can remove that down to a C tier for me, man.
Bro, they got the Rockies, bro. It'd be beautiful. Beautiful to look at, bro.
If
wake
you're an
up-
outdoorsy person.
Yeah, but bro, just a general aesthetic and vibe, right? Like you wake up in the morning, you look outside, and then you see like real scenery, not just flat land. Like a lot of these cities, like Toronto, when we wake up, bro. Like I've been to the Rockies, like in Banff, bro. It's amazing.
Okay.
Like
fair.
you wake up, bro, and it's like you see mountains, and
That's
you're like,
beautiful.
yo, this is
That's
amazing.
beautiful.
You know what I mean? As opposed to waking up and just everything is flat,
Just flat.
like out here.
Okay,
So
I'm with
yeah, I want to keep them in a B.
Okay, based on your experience, I'm with it.
Yeah. I think the rest of them look pretty good.
Looks pretty solid, man. Hey, y'all don't get mad at us, man. If you believe,
If we,
if you
judged
believe-
your city wrong, do not be
100%,
upset.
let us know.
Put us on. Right in the
know, what are we
comment
missing?
below.
What are we missing?
Why are we wrong about the Jazz?
Yeah.
I mean, about Utah, Minnesota, Milwaukee, and Cleveland. Why are we wrong? You know, let us know. Let us know.
But I think we're 100% correct about Cleveland, though, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, Cleveland, cold, rainy. Market isn't great. I say rainy, but not really rainy. Like cold. Market isn't great. What else? I've been to Ohio. I just don't love it. It just seems like very kind of run down in areas. Yeah.
Like Dave Chappelle made me not even want to visit Ohio, man. So especially seeing some of the stand-up special, just nah. But I ain't never been to Ohio. I've never really been interested to visit Ohio, and yeah, it's gonna be a no for me.
Brother, last segment here. I want to take you through the Immaculate Grid Challenge. So have you done one of these before?
Yeah, we did it last.
Yeah, you get it. You get it. All right. So, Immaculate Grid Challenge, brother. Let's jump into it. So, we got the Atlanta Hawks and Boston Celtics. All you viewers at home, you know, on the streaming platforms, you can see it right here. Brother, talk to me. Let's do one. So the thing is, let me just explain for people who don't know. You can only guess once. So our goal here is to get this whole grid filled out. You can't get even one wrong, otherwise you fail the challenge. So when we make these guesses, let's just try to be as accurate as possible.
100%.
We'll do one. You do one, I'll do one, and we'll just keep going back and forth. You want to
Get
start?
it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So Atlanta Hawks and the Raptors, Damari Carroll.
Damari Carroll. Ooh, I don't know how to spell that. Oh, good. It gives me the reference here. Damari Carroll. Perfect. Okay, 9%. Okay. Who do we got here? We got Sacramento Kings and the Raptors. We're gonna have to go Terrence Davis.
Not bad.
Terrence Davis. All right.
All right. Atlanta Hawks and Detroit Pistons. Give me Dennis Schroeder.
That's a good one. Dennis Schroeder.
Ooh, that was scary, baby.
Golden State and the Raptors. Brother, what was that guy's name that won the chip? Patrick McCaw.
That's exactly what I had in mind, man.
Patrick McCaw.
All right.
Okay.
Sacramento Kings and Detroit Pistons.
Sacramento Kings and Detroit Pistons.
Sacramento Kings and Detroit Pistons. That's a really good one.
That's tough. That's tough.
Sacramento Kings and Detroit Pistons. Golden State. Oh, this one's gonna be tough. Sacramento Kings and Boston
Yeah,
Celtics.
this was tough. Okay, Golden State and Boston.
Ooh,
I feel like I should know this one, bro.
Golden State and Boston.
Golden State and Boston?
Who played for Golden State and Boston?
You know what's always kind of a safe bet to kind of take? Like, there's a bunch of players that have just played for every team.
Journeyman.
Journeyman, like Ish Smith. I swear he's played for like 16 or 17 teams.
I'm thinking about current players, but then he also go all the way back.
Yeah, you could go all the way back here.
So Sacramento Kings and Detroit Pistons.
Okay, Golden State and Boston. I'm thinking Anderson Varejao, but he didn't play for Boston, did he?
Nah, Anderson Varejao.
No,
That's a
right?
good one.
Golden State and Boston. Oh, that could have been Dennis Schroeder too.
Fair. Yep. Oh yeah. But we can guess him second time, no?
No, you can't.
No, you can't, eh?
Take him once, that's it.
So Atlanta and Boston. Jeff Teague.
Jeff Teague. Oh, Hold on. Atlanta, Boston. Oh, yeah. Jeff Teague. Easy. Easy money. Okay, 4 left. These kind of feel tough. Also feel like because I feel on the spot, it becomes tougher.
Exactly, dude.
You know what I mean? Okay, Golden State.
Golden State and Detroit Pistons. Let me know if you don't get this one.
Okay. Man, Golden State and Detroit. Golden State and Detroit.
I think I got it.
Okay, you're going to have to give me this one.
James Wiseman.
Let's keep it moving on. Ooh, James Wiseman is a good one, yo. Okay, Sacktown Kings, Detroit Pistons. Sacktown Kings,
And Detroit Pistons. Why did I want to say Rudy Gay?
I don't know about that one. Yo, Golden State in Boston. That's not Jeff Green.
Yo, Sacktown and
Boston?
Sacktown and Detroit. The dude that was drafted before Luka Doncic. Sacramento. So he was drafted before, I believe he was the first overall pick. Oh, it's going to choose me.
You said DeAndre Ayton, Trae Young era?
I believe he was drafted number 1.
Drafted number 1?
1 or 2. Because I believe Ayton went 1.
Yeah.
And then I believe it was 2.
Okay, let's circle back.
Okay, so Boston.
We got Golden State and Boston.
Golden State.
Yo, I feel like these should be easy, bro.
Yeah.
Golden State and Boston. Golden State and Boston. Journeyman.
Yo, Boston and Sacramento Kings, Isaiah Thomas.
Yes. Okay.
Boston.
You're carrying this right now, bro. I'm blanking.
Dude, I'm blanking too, man.
Golden
Boston
State
and Golden State.
I feel like we should get this one. Boston and Golden State.
Boston and Golden State.
Boston and Golden State. Gotta be.
Yo, hold up. Did
Boston and Golden State, bro.
Dude, what was the name of the that white guy that played on Golden State years ago, prior to Draymond Green?
Oh, brother, David Lee.
Yeah.
I think. Let's save it. Let's save that for last, just in case we find one. Yo, I swear David Lee, bro. I swear David Lee.
Dude, I have the guy for Sacramento Kings and Detroit. I just can't think of his freaking name.
Yo.
Can we Google his name?
No, we can't, bro. We can't. So you say he's a number 2 pick?
Yeah, I believe he was drafted number 2.
In what, 2019 draft?
Where was Luka Doncic draft? I think it was like 2017, 2018.
I think that was 18.
18, yeah. It was a 2018 draft.
Shoot. Number 2.
He was like number 2.
Oh, yo, what about, this is a super crazy random pull if I get this, but what was his name? Scalabicieri or whatever? Is that the guy?
Scalabicieri?
Yeah. Is that not Detroit and thing?
Oh, Scalabicieri. I know that he played for Sacramento, but I don't know about Detroit. I'm not confident with Detroit. I'm confident. Dude, I'm so cheesed. So he played in Detroit.
No, I'm not doing it. I just want to see Scalabicieri. Is that how you say his name? French guy, right?
Then this guy's going to choose.
Whoa, it said guess is left 1? Yo, I did not click anything, bro. That's crazy. Okay.
Oh, they sussed us.
They sussed us here, but okay, let's use our final guess on David Lee.
Yeah. I'm cheesed though, man. I have the name. I have the guy. I just still have the name.
It was right too.
Wow.
Yo, I did not pick. I don't know. Wow. Yo, this grid killed us. So who was the guy you're thinking of? Hold on, we might be salvaged here. Who was the guy you're thinking of? So David Lee worked,
and then it would have been. Let me see here. 2018 NBA draft. Just gonna choose me.
Yo, crazy.
Let's see here. Marvin Bagley, bro.
Marvin Bagley.
Oh man, I'm so vexed.
That would have been it too.
I'm so vexed.
Sheesh. That's crazy. We would have got that too. Wow. All right, yo, that was good for a first one. Let's
go.
All right, y'all. We hope you guys enjoyed that final segment there. Sideline Talk is we're gonna call it from now on. So you guys are all introduced to it now. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and sticking. If you stuck around for the whole thing, man, we truly appreciate that. Like, comment, subscribe, follow us on all socials. Maduga_for_real on all socials.
Durrell official, baby.
To my right here.
Dude.
Franchise players.
Let's get it.
Episode 9. Beautiful pod. We changed our setup, guys. Let us know how you like it. Let us know of any changes, improvements, whatever. Episode 10 coming at you hot next week. Let's see how these NBA finals shape up, brother.
Let's get it. What's the score right now?
Yeah, check the score. Little final score check. By the time this is out, people are already gonna know who won.
68-49. Let's get it.
68-49.
Dude, that 2018 draft was deep, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, Jalen Brunson was, who was he? Number 40, number 33. Dude, that pick had Luka, Jaren Jackson, Trae Young. Come on. SGA. Bronson.
Wow, stacked. 2018 draft was nice.
Wow.
All right, we're about to sign off.
Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Franchise Players episode 9 is a wrap. It's in the books. We out of here, baby.
We out of here, baby.